Hello friends, hope will be fine and fit. Today I'm going to discuss story of Abdullah from Hyderabad. My name is Abdullah and I am working at the hospital in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to share this story with my sister and my father. My sister was working at the civil hospital in Hyderabad at this time, and she got a letter that said up transfer to civil hospital 7 Sharif was being done. I immediately have to report there. Since our entire house was in Seattle, Hyderabad, we had no relatives in 7 Sharif, far and wide. We thought first we should see the environment there and then take our sister there. She said anyway, and when we spoke to Mrs., he said the lady doctor has a lot of need here and there, are currently no other doctors out there. So you have to report back there tomorrow. My father and my sister met me and said that we are facing the problem of living here right now. We are thinking that until the accumulation is found, we will get a hostel. Mrs. said the same thing. I have 2 guest rooms in front of my office. You can get there. And my dad felt the same way because the guest rooms were very close to the hospital, and there was no problem with the comings and goings. So it is better that we avail ourselves of these rooms until the accumulation is found. Now, until their influenza, there was such a situation that 2 rooms were built in front of the Mrs. office. And there was a kitchen, but food my father brought from the outside. A couple of days after the start, things went well. They observed that there was a field in front of the rooms in the evening, in West time, so they felt like maybe the kids came to play cricket. The noise of these children was growing a lot. One does not know how many children's voices began to appear, or it was like the workers were picking up the goods with a lot of noise and throwing them away. My dad was having a lot of trouble. They don't think there's a family here. One day a ball came from the outside and hit the window. My father said, "Look, what are you doing? It's a family living here." After that, there was a little silence, and then on the 4th day, there was a little silence, and then on the 4th day, there was a strange way of doing something like this. My father said, "If I look, I'll go right. And it's dark enough after the west. What are the children playing? There's nothing here." My dad said that when I went out, I saw nothing. They were very surprised. But they didn't tell my sister that she would be upset if I told them. And she would be scared, and my father started trying to get accumulations quickly, and we left here. And then they were telling themselves that I wasn't getting any good feelings from this hostel. It was day 6, and my sister explains that it was 2 o'clock at night. At the time, I felt like the sheet they had was being pulled by someone. He thought it felt like being dominated by sleep. He put the sheets of the stretch on herself again. The second time, the same attack happened again. She was very scared and sat up, but as soon as she got up, she said that the human size was the same. But the face was not the same. He was like a black shadow because it was not dark at all. A light bulb was attached, which made me see his face. But he was a black shadow, and he started looking at me. My sister was very scared. She was not daring enough to pick up the father lying on the side. As soon as she reached out and tried to wake the father, the identity he had was converted into a deer, and this deer had horns, and it looked like he was killing. And my sister was scared and sat in a corner with the wall. All she could hear was "Dad, Dad." In her voice at the same time my father woke up, asked what had happened. My sister pointed to the wall and tried to tell me, but my dad couldn't see anything there. There was a black smoke show, and then he disappeared in no time. It was only that day and that night that passed before they sat down, and my sister did not sleep in fear. In the morning, my father packed up and shifted from there to another hotel. His watchman said that people have come here before, and so invisible creatures scare them, sometimes in the form of a bull, sometimes in the form of a shoulder, and sometimes in the form of a dog. My father was so angry that if you knew in advance, he told us why not. We wouldn't have shifted here. That was not to my knowledge, Mrs. said. And so we processed this guest house forever, and no one is allowed to stay here anymore.